Do you ever wonder why listening to your favorite song can instantly lift your mood? I mean, one minute you're spiraling over a to-do list that's longer than a CVS receipt, and then the next minute you're belting out a chorus like you're in sync. What's up with that? Well, today we're diving deep into the science behind music's calming effects and how it can truly soothe your soul. Spoiler alert, it's got a lot to do with a little brain chemical called dopamine, doing a nice little happy dance in your head. Now, I'm not a neuroscientist, as you can see. My expertise is more in crafting melodies, being a musician, helping folks through life's toughest goodbyes. But I have seen firsthand how music can be a lifeline. And whether it's a hymn at a funeral that brings a tearful smile or this pop banger that gets me through a rough day, there is magic in those notes. So grab a cozy blanket, maybe a snack. I don't know. Don't judge me. I have my apple slices ready in the fridge. Let's explore the rhythmic dance of dopamine and how music eases anxiety. We'll unpack the brainy stuff, share some laughs, and I might even strum a tune or two to prove my point. So stick around because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why music feels good, but you'll have a playlist ready to tackle any stress monster that comes your way. So let's get into it. Before we get all sciencey, let me tell you why this topic hits so close to home. As a musician, I've always known music could move people. It's why I picked up and started singing in the first place. I recognized that people felt something. It wasn't until I started working as a funeral director, though, that I truly saw its power to heal. And I've stood in rooms thick with grief, where the air feels heavier than a winter coat even. And I've watched how a single song, like a softer rendition of Amazing Grace, how it cut through that weight just suddenly. Shoulders relaxing, tears turn to quiet nods, and maybe smiles. And there's this shared moment of peace. It's not just me noticing this. Families tell me all the time how a melody brought them a sliver of calm in their storm, or that song made it possible. And look, I'm not immune to anxiety myself. Trust me, I have a medicine cabinet to prove it. But between running funeral homes in the past and being a funeral director for nearly 15 years and trying to get my singles breakthrough out into the world, my brain sometimes feels like it's hosting this chaotic rave. But when I put on a track, let's say something like James Taylor, or sing and perform and rehearse, it's like hitting a reset button. My heart rate slows, my to-do list stops screaming at me, and I'm just here. So when I started digging into why music does this, I wasn't just curious, I was on this mission to understand the superpower. And it turns out it's not just magic, it's science, and it starts with this little neurotransmitter party in your brain. Let's talk about that next. Let's nerd out for just a bit, but don't worry, I'm going to keep this very digestible. Meet dopamine, the brain's resident hype man. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, which is just a fancy way of saying it's this chemical messenger that helps your brain chat with each other. It's the star player in your brain's reward system, the thing that makes you go, oh yeah, that feels good, when you bite into a chocolate chip cookie or have sex or nail a delicious falsetto note. Think of dopamine as the confetti cannon at the end of a great performance. It's all about pleasure and reward. Now, here's where music comes in to play. When you listen to a song you love, maybe it's the soaring bridge in my song Breakthrough. You're welcome, shameless plug. Your brain releases dopamine in anticipation of that peak moment. It's like your mind knows the drop is coming and gets all giddy before it even happens. This isn't just me guessing. Researchers have scanned brains with all these fancy machines for years, and they've seen this dopamine spike in real time when people hear music that they vibe with. And it's why you get chills when that one lyric hits just right, or why you can't help but smile when your favorite song comes on shuffle. But it's not just about feeling good in the moment. Dopamine also reinforces behaviors, telling your brain, hey, do that again. That's why you keep hitting replay on your favorite playlist. It's not just catchy. It's literally rewiring your brain to crave that happy hit. And for someone like me, who's seen how music can turn a tough day around altogether, this makes total sense. It's like a natural high, no caffeine or sugar crash required. So when you're feeling anxious, popping on a tune isn't just a distraction, it's a biological boost to your mood. It's pretty cool, right? But there's more. Music doesn't just pump up the good vibes, it also dials down the stress. I want to break that down a little bit. All right, let's talk about the villain, the antagonist in our brain's story, and that's cortisol. If dopamine is the hype man, cortisol is that overzealous security guard who shows up when you're stressed and just makes everything even worse. Cortisol is your body's main stress hormone, released when you're in fight or flight mode, like when you're late for a meeting or you're stuck in traffic or when life just throws a curveball. Too much cortisol over time can leave you feeling like a jittery mess, ramping up anxiety and even messing with your sleep and your health. Not cool. But here's where music can swoop in like the superhero that it is. Studies, and I'm not just making this up, have shown that listening to music can lower cortisol levels, essentially telling that security guard to take a break. And how does it work? Well, when you listen to something soothing like a slow acoustic track or even classical music, your body starts to relax. Your heart rate slows, your breathing evens out, and your brain gets the memo that there's not any emergency. It's like music flips a switch from panic to chill. I read about this one study. Don't ask me for the exact citation. I'm not exactly sure, but they had people listen to calming music before a stressful event, like medical procedure. And guess what? Their cortisol levels dropped compared to folks who just sat in silence. It's like the music was a buffer, a shield against the stress storm. And I've seen this in action. At funerals, when emotions are raw and stress is through the roof, a gentle song can visibly ease the tension in the room. I've watched people unclench their fists, take deeper breaths, and just let go for just a moment. It is not a cure-all, but it's a very powerful pause button. Now let's get personal for just a second. When I'm feeling the weight of the world, whether it's a tough day or the pressure of trying to promote a new single like Breakthrough, I've got my go-to tracks. Sometimes it's something mellow like Simon and Garfunkel. That helps me breathe just a little easier. Other times it's this upbeat bop that distracts me from overthinking. But either way, I can feel my stress dialed down, and science backs me up on this. Music isn't just this feel-good escape. It's literally a biological tool to combat the cortisol chaos. So next time you're stressed, don't just doom scroll. That adds to it. Why don't you hit play on something that speaks to you? Your brain is going to thank you. Speaking of healing, I want to look at how music therapy takes this to the next level for folks with anxiety disorders. And I say all of this with gentleness, and I welcome you here. And any of this resonates with you, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified when I release content like this. That is the free and easy and best way to support this channel. Oh, and speaking of anxiety, I got it. Now, I've been gushing about music and how it helps me and the folks that I've met through my work as a funeral professional, but I want to talk about the real heavy hitters, that is music therapy. And this isn't just popping on a playlist. It is a legit clinical approach where trained therapists, they use music to help people with anxiety disorders, depression, and other mental health challenges. And before you roll your eyes thinking it's some woo-woo stuff, I want you to hear me out. There's solid evidence that's behind this. Music therapy works on a few levels. It can be active, where you're singing, you're playing an instrument, or you're even writing songs to express what's inside of you. I've done this myself. It's what I do. Pouring my heart into lyrics for my song Breakthrough was cheaper than therapy, of course. Then there's passive therapy, where you're listening to carefully chosen music to evoke calm or process emotions. Therapists, they're able to tailor this to the person. Maybe it's classical for one or jazz for another. The point is, it's personal and it meets you where you are. And I want to talk to you about results. There have been studies. Again, I'm not the scientist, but I've read the highlights, and it shows that music therapy can significantly reduce symptoms of anxiety disorders. One example that I came across was with people who have generalized anxiety disorder. After sessions involving guided listening or playing simple rhythms, their anxiety scores dropped. Why? Well, because music helps regulate the nervous system, kind of like a lullaby soothes a baby. And it's not just fluff. It's literally rewiring how your body responds to stress. And I also found stories about music therapy in hospitals that help patients with PTSD or depression. Imagine someone who's been through trauma, struggling to even name the feelings that they're feeling. A therapist might play a song that resonates or guide them to tap out a beat. And suddenly, there's a crack in the wall, a way to connect without words. And as someone who's seen grief up close, this is amazing and it hits hard for me because words, they oftentimes fail, but a melody, it can sneak past the defenses and just hold you. Now, I'm not saying music therapy replaces meds or traditional counseling. Everyone's journey is different, and I'm all about getting the help you need, but it is a tool, a kind one that can complement other care. And here's the kicker. You don't always need a therapist to start. Curating a playlist for tough days, like I do, is a mini version of this. Add in songs that ground you, maybe something from my catalog, and you've got a pocket-sized therapy session. So whether it's formal music therapy or you're just vibing to your favorites, know that this isn't just fluff. It's backed by science and, more importantly, by real human experience. So let's wrap all this up with some practical tips and a little heart-to-heart. Come on in. We've covered the brainy bits, dopamine, dancing, cortisol crashing, and music therapy, how it saves the day, but how do you use this in your real, messy, beautiful life? Here are a few tips from yours truly with a side of kindness because, well, that's how I roll. First, build your mood-lifting playlist. Think of it as your emotional first aid kit. Might sound cheesy, but hear me out. Include songs that spark joy. Maybe it's an old school banger or something mellow, like my song Breakthrough, or a song that you remember as a kid always made you excited. Add variety, because some days you need a hype up. Just breathe. Notice how your body feels. Does your chest loosen up? It's not about ignoring the stress. It's about giving yourself a safe space to feel it. I do this before I do something big, like a big live performance, or whenever I would have a tough funeral service, and it has been a game changer. And third, don't be afraid to experiment. Music therapy shows us that different sounds hit different folks in unique and different ways. If pop isn't cutting it, try instrumental or nature sounds. Heck, I had days where just listening to rain and a soft guitar loop does a ton for me. Find what soothes your soul. No rules are required here. Now, before we go, I want to say this. Life is heavy sometimes. I know that. Trust me, whether you're wrestling with anxiety or maybe just a bad day. Remember, you're not alone. Music, it's a bridge. It's a way to connect with yourself and with others, even when words fall short. I've seen it in my work. I've felt it in my bones. And I truly hope this video reminds you that your story, your struggles, all of it matter. If my songs or this chat helped even just a little bit, drop a comment. I do read them all. And also, I would be honored if you subscribe and click the bell to be notified when I release content, because that is free and the best way to support this channel. Also, you can check out my new single, Breakthrough. You can join me over at The Mortals for more real talk. Anyway, hit that like, subscribe, and let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, keep the music close and be kind to yourself. I'll see you soon.